The SpaceX Starship may likely hit orbit before the end of the year. The massive new Starship rocket that's designed to land NASA astronauts on the moon and eventually take humans to Mars will likely conduct a test flight from Texas in June or July. That's a great one for Elon Musk. And with this, the question surrounding when SpaceX Starship's launching has been answered. According to SpaceX COO and President Gwynne Shotwell, the company is now expecting Starbase to be ready for Starship's first orbital launch attempt as early as June or July. This is pushing the schedule back another month or two. In order to accomplish this, SpaceX will need to pass a whole lot of challenging and unproven tests, and also pass through a series of exhaustive bureaucratic reviews, which will significantly increase the odds that Starship's orbital launch debut is actually closer to 3 to 6 months away. Though SpaceX could technically pull off a miracle or may even attempt to launch hardware that has only been partially tested, even the most optimistic of hypothetical scenarios are still contingent upon things largely outside of the company's control. The Federal Aviation Administration is solely responsible for completing a programmatic environmental assessment of orbital Starship launches out of Boca Chica of SpaceX in Texas, and will also issue a launch license for the largest and most powerful rocket ever built. This is because without the FAA's launch license and environmental approval, any Starship SpaceX that is built can't legally launch from Starbase. On the other side of the coin though, it's just as true that the FAA nods of approval are worth about as much as the paper they're written on, without a rocket that's ready to launch. In a stable world, SpaceX would have a Starship and Super Heavy booster fully qualified, stacked, and sitting at Starbase's orbital launch site when the FAA finally gives the green light. However, that's not quite what SpaceX's reality is today. SpaceX has made a significant amount of progress in the last 2 months, but against CEO Elon Musk's hopes as of March 21st as the official launch date. The company was absolutely not ready to attempt an orbital launch by the end of May. Nonetheless, Shotwell's estimate of June or July may not be completely out of reach. Since Musk's tweet, SpaceX finished assembling Super Heavy Booster 7, rolled the rocket to the launch site on March 31st, and completed several major tests in early April. However, during the last test, an apparent operating error occurred which significantly damaged a large part installed inside the booster, forcing SpaceX to return Super Heavy B7 to Starbase's build site. After 2.5 weeks of repairs, Booster 7 returned to the launch site on May 6th and completed another cryo-proof test, seemingly verifying that those quick repairs did the job. If Booster 7 was not taken for repairs, it is possible, but still hard, to imagine that SpaceX could have had a Super Heavy booster ready to launch by the end of May. Still, the static fire testing Booster 7 needs to complete is almost entirely unprecedented and could take months to complete. To date, SpaceX has never ignited more than 6 Raptors at once on a Starship prototype, while Super Heavy will likely need to complete multiple 33 engine tests before it can be safely considered ready for flight. Worse, there is no guarantee that SpaceX actually wants to fly Booster 7 after the damage it suffered. If Booster 8 carries the torch forward instead, Starship's orbital launch debut could easily slip to late Q3 or Q4 2022. Meanwhile, Super Heavy is only half of the rocket. While Musk tweeted his hopefully May estimate, SpaceX was nowhere close to finishing the Starship, Ship 24 that's believed to have been assigned to the orbital launch debut. But SpaceX finally accelerated Ship 24's assembly within the last few weeks and ultimately finished stacking the upgraded Starship on May 8th. Elon Musk and his team applied a great speed to meet up with the deadline. A great deal of work remains to truly complete Ship 24, but SpaceX should be ready to send it to a test stand within a week or two. Even though the testing Ship 24 will need to complete has been done before Ship 20, making its path forward less risky than Booster 7's, Ship 24 will launch a number of major design changes and likely needs at least 2 months of testing to reach a basic level of flight readiness. Wondering what a Starship is? Starship can be defined as a fully reusable Super Heavy lift launch vehicle that is currently being developed and manufactured by American aerospace manufacturer SpaceX. It is known to be the tallest and most powerful rocket ever built. This rocket consists of the Super Heavy booster stage and the Starship spacecraft on top. Stainless steel is mainly the raw material used in this construction. Both stages are fueled with liquid oxygen and methane, and are propelled by variants of Raptor engines. Both stages are designed for rapid use after vertical landing. With a single launch, the expected payload to low Earth orbit is at least 100 tons, or 220,000 pounds. The planned Starship tanker variant can be used to refuel the main spacecraft in orbit, leading to the same payload for flights to the Moon and Mars. The development of Starship is iterative and incremental, and is mostly funded by SpaceX. Serial tests conducted on rocket prototypes range from proof pressure tests to static fires to full flight tests with attempted recovery. Because of the company's openness to space news media, these rocket tests have received significant coverage. Reception to Starship development among local communities has been mixed, especially from cities near the Starbase spaceport. Proponents of SpaceX's arrival said the company would provide money, education, and job opportunities to the country's poorest areas. Local governments have stated the company boosted the local economy by hiring local residents and increasing investments. You see its coming is very beneficial to people around. A lot of people oppose the plan. The reason was that it encourages Brownsville gentrification. They also noted the spaceport's dishonest planning. Starbase has been originally planned to launch Falcon rockets, but the site was now exclusively used to test Starships without being reassessed for environmental damage. Some of the failed tests has resulted in large explosions, which scattered debris around Boca Chica Beach at Cameron County, causing major disruption to nearby wildlife reserves. SpaceX has also been criticized for interfering with Boca Chica's residents' daily lives, because nearby beaches and roads are frequently closed. Because of this, some residents have moved away or demanded financial reparations from the company. But we will not conclude yet. Maybe they have alternate plans and mean to speed up the process. Like and subscribe to our channel for these topics and more. Stay tuned!